Hey, shalom, shalom, everyone. This is Chris Shoemaker, also known as Yehuda Ben Shomer, and welcome to the Daily Drosh. Today's Daily Drosh, we're going to be hanging out in Matthew chapter 7, and I'm going to be reading from the Tree of Life version. Now, let me start out with a very familiar verse that's probably more quoted than actually John 3:16. And it's actually quoted probably more by the world than by Christians themselves or believers in Messiah Yeshua themselves. Ready for this? Judge not, lest ye be judged. Matthew 7:1, right? You hear it all the time. You hear it from not only Christians, but from, from non-believers. And non-believers usually quote that because they don't want you to judge them because of the sin that they're participating in. Basically, they're saying, it's none of your business what I do. What I do is what I do. Don't judge me. You don't know me. You've never walked a mile in my shoes, so don't judge me. God says not to judge. The Bible says not to judge. Judge not, lest you be judged. You know, it's interesting. They know that verse by heart, and that's Matthew 7:1, but they stop right there. In other words, they take that verse out of context because they don't read verse 2. Because verse 2 tells you what the qualifications are in regards to judging. It says in the Tree of Life version, stop judging so that you may not be judged. Verse 2, for with the judgment you judge, in other words, the way that you judge other people is the way that you're going to be judged. So for the judgment you judge, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured unto you. So it's basically saying, it's not saying don't judge anybody. It's saying watch out how you judge somebody because the way you judge them is the exact same way that you're going to be judged, right? So let me move down, in the same chapter, all the way to, let's see, let's go with verse 15, because it's talking, and actually in the Tree of Life version, here's the heading for verses 15 to 23. It's called Judging the Fruit. So right in that same chapter of chapter 7, it gives us the right and the qualifications to judge. All right. So if judging seems like a bad word or a negative connotation or whatever, don't worry. Don't say that you judge. Just say that you're a fruit inspector. Right? Because God gave us full right to be a fruit inspector, because it says in verse 15, watch out for false prophets who come in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravening wolves. You will recognize them by their fruits. Grapes aren't gathered from thorn bushes, or figs from thistles, are they? Even so, every good tree produces good fruit, but the rotten tree produces bad fruit. A good tree cannot produce bad fruit, nor can a rotten tree produce good fruit. Every tree that does not produce good fruit is going to be chopped down and thrown into the fire. So then, you will recognize them by their fruits. So if I go to my little fruit bowl and, there's several apples there, and I grab the first apple and it's a little bruised, it's a little squishy, it's a little brown. Well, that's not a good apple. I just judged that fruit because I inspected the fruit and I saw that it was becoming rotten. So I pick up another apple. It's nice and shiny and very firm. And, I'm like, oh, wow, this is good. This is a good apple. This is good fruit. So I just became a judge of that fruit. In the qualifications were, does it have a brown spot or not? Does it have a rotten spot or not? A mushy spot or not? That was the criteria in which I judged it, so I was able to determine what was a good fruit, what was a bad fruit. It's the same thing with people. You will know them by their fruits. What is fruits? The actions they produce, or the results that they produce in their life. If good things come out of their life, that's good fruit. If bad things come out of their life, it's always drama and gossip and all this kind of garbage. Well, then you can inspect their fruit and say, wow, they're producing bad fruit. I'm going to stay away from them. So, Messiah Yeshua is not saying that we are not allowed to judge. We are allowed to judge. He gave us the criteria on how to judge in the last half of Matthew 7. He just says, be careful of how you judge other people, because the way you judge others is the way you're going to be judged. So take that with you today and have a great one. Shalom and Shavua Tov. See you next time.